is there a motion for number 1, the 72?
I make a motion.
Mrs. Cook,
Second.
Mrs. Dombrowski.
Yes.
Yes, yes, Helen, and Peg?
Yes.
Yes, okay. The second issue of the motorcycles, we notice some of them have to be parked in the front, which they really don't belong there. They need to be parked in we kind of discussed it, put it in a parking space, not in front of the car. We don't want them like over the sidewalk or in the bushes or whatever. Is there a motion for the motorcycle rule?
I do.
Oh,
I
Julie,
make a motion.
second by Peg.
Yes.
Uh,
By Fred, third.
Fred, yes.
Yes.
Helen, yes. Julie?
Yes.
And Peg?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the audience?
Is there coffee and bagels here?
That's a good question.
Actually, a good idea. Pizza.
Is this questions at the end that we
It
can
is.
discuss it? Just for my own information, and thank you all for all the work you do, because I know it's a lot of work. I just am curious, what is our reserve fund? It's probably on the portal, I just haven't looked. But what it
No,
is.
it's
and-
not.
It's not, okay.
No.
What it is, what you think it should be, and a third part of that question is there something in these new condo laws that is gonna require us to change that at some point in the future?
Okay. So there's
That's a lot of
multiple
questions.
parts to your question.
They're all-
So
yeah.
ask one question at a time so it could be answered.
Okay, what's our current reserve?
Just a second. $585, $185.
What percentages of our budget is that?
Well, it doesn't quite go into a budget. Remember, the reserve is like a capital account. So the better way to ask the question, how many items are fully funded or how much needs to be funded? That's, yeah, it's not a budget. You pay for it every month a little bit. It's, I think, like 3% of the budget, if I recall right. Hold on. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not very much because most of it's fully funded. I think the roof, I'm doing it from memory now. Oh, wait, let me see if I can just tell by the numbers.
3%, right?
The elevators are not fully funded, but again, it's highly likely you will ever need that major repair that there's like 96,000 now in it. So to replace it one elevator, you're not going to use it. So every month you get a small bit taken out to add to that capital number.
So the funding's specific to whatever things.
Oh, yes, no.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
No, you got that sheet.
It's in it,
It's
yeah.
in the
It's in
sheet,
the
so
budget.
here, wait a second.
That got sent out, like,
Yeah.
the one that's
It's-
horizontal.
This one.
Okay, I didn't get that, but
Oh, no, everybody, you got it in,
Oh,
if
then
you
I
got this
probably-
one, yeah, you don't.
Okay.
It's all, it's all one.
Oh, okay,
All one
Yeah.
package. So now your next question had to do with the future. Is that, well, no, go ahead.
Or do you feel that, as knowing this stuff, because I don't, do you feel that we're funded appropriately for now? And are there pros and cons to being more funded or less funded? I'm just trying to figure this stuff out.
Okay, I don't think anybody can figure it out. So
Okay.
what's gonna happen
That's right.
do we have adequate funds if there's an emergency? Well, the driveway was paid for, you were not assessed for that, correct?
Fantastic.
So
Yeah.
it had to be adjusted, because how much the comet, but basically it was pretty much on target. And originally with that, what I was thinking had to be done, because it's been asphalted a couple of times, I thought everything had to be lifted and start over again. But the guy was able to take 1 inch off and redo it, so it saved money. So we're in good shape on that fund. So now with the new law, which I'm not 100% clear on, but it doesn't take effect till next year,
Right.
is that an engineer or some other professional is going to have to come in and look at everything, and then they will reevaluate it. So for instance, they're gonna put, I think one of the categories are the walls. So in case the wall collapses, what it's gonna cost for the wall or the flooring.
Right.
So that's incompetent. You know, that's an opinion. So a professional is gonna have to come in. So what is it going to be?
We don't know.
What's the insurance gonna be? We don't know.
And this relates to, sorry, I'm just trying to.
No, that's good. Ask.
This relates to the insurance on the roof, because you were saying they have to have a new mitigation for that, because the insurance company wants to know.
It's
that we're
citizens. Citizens.
Sorry, yeah.
Correct. So I do not put in a roof for the main roof, the reserve, and it's explained why. Because the contract that we have with the roofing company says you should not have to put a new roof in.
Right.
So, you know, the engineer may come in and say, well, no, I want that. So, you know, whatever the roof is, $1 million, I have no idea. A professional will figure it out.
So we could end up having to beef up our,
It's likely,
it's likely.
because a professional will do it,
And does that mean?
as opposed to it being done
A
accurately.
dirty word that begins with an A, assessment, is that something that?
No, I don't think it would be an assessment, because I don't see it, because I don't know if we have to have, I didn't quite figure out from what I read that it has to be 100% funded by January 1st, 2024. It has to be on the way, unless somebody knows differently. Richard,
No,
you're on
that's
top of
kind
this,
what
like
I've
a,
heard too. I don't know.
do you know if it has to be fully funded? I don't think so. But the engineer or other professional, it was too, I mean, you know, the wall, the floors,
Right,
you know, I mean, that's stupid.
kind of broad. Yeah.
What it is political, like the insurance.
Right,
So
right.
you pay for politics. Yeah, we all pay.
Can I do one last question?
You sure
And then
can.
I'll be quiet. Kudos to you for lowering our maintenance fees, which is unheard of. these
Correct.
days. Are we on, I mean, what's going on with that in the future? I'd be surprised if we can continue this way, but you guys know I don't, so.
Well, I think you read in the narrative, the boring ones, I do. I don't know if they're gonna run for the board, and you may have, you know, a much more intelligent board. No, that's okay, because I mentioned, I think in that long, boring narrative, we have many highly intelligent people that could run this association so much better. So you're asking about the future. I can't answer that. I don't think any of us can.
No current plans to raise the maintenance.
It went
Well,
up.
it did go up.
It went up, not down.
It went up.
It
Oh,
went up.
did? Oh, that's how much I know.
Well, didn't you look? Well, wait a minute. I know you got the package by email because you signed up
No,
for
I
it.
undoubtedly did, and apparently I didn't read it very well.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. It's about 100 or a little bit over 100. And part of it is, we've used go read that long,
I
it's
will.
boring. Oh, God, I can't outbore myself. But it's accurate, so that's the important thing. But, you know, it's not, in the future, most boards, you know, they do the zero-based budgeting and everything, we don't have this. We had 10 years of that around here, so, and not in the last 12 years. So things have changed. This is not normal. So, but the insurance, one of the things we had, I think I budgeted 260 last year, and it went up to 293 for the insurance. I mean, again, it's,
Yeah, of course.
who knows? So that was all absorbed. The absorption is now over with,
Yeah.
and it was done intentionally, because we can't, and I explained all that in the boring, it's boring.
Well, thank you for covering it again, though. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Any other questions? Please.
Okay, you said that who do we have now for our insurance company?
Well, it's not who do we have. We have two different agents, and Peg was with me on one. I mean, this has been a bear over the liability. What happens, some insurance comes due on the 1st of October, and some comes due on March 1st. So the association has several policies. It has, for October, is the flood and the liability, the GL and the umbrella. In March 1st is the property, and the D&O, that's directors and officers, and the fidelity bonding. So they're kind of split so you don't get hit all at once, which was a thing I think I did many years ago, but regardless. So the crisis that we had to deal with was the liability, because Philadelphia, who insured us, is really a great liability company, but they're moving out of Florida because, you know, they get into lawsuits with the insurance and blah, blah, blah. Smart. It's not worth it. So the agent we have used for many years, I did not get the agent. The prior administration many years ago got them. Very, very good, but they could not find a general liability carrier for River Shores that was an admitted carrier for the state of Florida. So we have to really try, if it's available, to get an admitted carrier, because in case the company goes belly up, we have something to fall back on. Do you understand?
So that's what you're gonna do.
So we had to find a different agent who was a real problem. And we got the insurance, plus we were able, just to bring up Middle River Club for a second, we were able to keep Philadelphia because there had been no claims for Middle River Club. But we had to get an umbrella for both River Shores and Middle River Club. And that policy is not like a standard policy, even though I've been informed they're admitted carriers. We've never used the umbrella policy, but, you know, we got to make sure it's there just in case. So we have up to $15 million insurance liability coverage. So now going back to March 1st, as I explained, and it's not just now, since I've been doing this well over 30 years, whether it was New York or here, the insurance, it's last minute, because they know they got you. So the liability was up there, I think like 25, which, you know, it used to be like 8,000, 9,000, including Middle River Club, and then I used to bill back very little to Middle, I mean, it was no reality. I think it was like 37, including the umbrella, some 36, 30 something, yeah,
From 2021,
this year,
this year.
yeah. And then it went up, well, it didn't go, it was still like 30, but then I'm doing it, maybe it was 20, and then it was, say, 15, but then it was like 10, you know, it was not expensive. So for March 1st, if we get Citizens, it's what I would call a liability policy, because we can be assessed if there's a hurricane over on the West Coast or here and they don't have enough funds. It's up, I think, up to 45% of the premium. So,
So are we just stuck, because when you said.
stuck, that's right.
No, Citizens, and you just said that's not good.
It's not good, no.
Because Citizens is
It's-
now basically the only one that's really writing in Florida.
Stuck, right.
And we're at their mercy.
Stuck, correct. And again, we need to consider if there is another policy, because the current company we have, American Coastal, the agent has suggested a 45% increase. So if we're talking 290, you could do the math. You're looking at 600,000.
And you get an assessment for that.
No, well, you could, but it's not like Citizens. It's like less of a chance. But you have to remember that a few years ago, when I wrote this to everybody, that we started out with American Coastal like with the 3% or 2% deductible, then it got to a 5%, and the premium still went up. You know, we're screwed. So that's why you need to be informed of that, just in case you have insurance on your condo. There you have assessment insurance on your HO6 policy. You may have to increase whatever that is, because just in case. Some people don't have insurance, and that's okay. You could be ahead of the game. I sent that video out the other day from Help Me Howard. You know, that's where it's at.
And this woman has no insurance now.
My comment is she probably doesn't need it, but she's afraid, and therefore she wants to have it, because the house is
The
well
government's gonna
structured.
have to do something.
Yeah.
Because what is everybody gonna do? Have no insurance, and then poof, the walls fall down and everything like that, and everybody can walk in the streets? I mean,
Well,
Just
I-
us
I gotta tell you,
It's already happened.
our experience, or my experience, what?
To help?
No, they just passed a law in the state that it's going up. Wasn't that in the court?
They passed legislation. Part of the problem is attorneys and litigation. And we're dealing with that situation now, so whatever, the attorney will handle it. I can't even explain it. From basically my understanding, you can have insurance, but if your company doesn't want to pay, it's okay. You could always go after the association, and then the attorney gets the legal fee. Yeah, please.
Insurance company won't be paying any legal fees.
Wait, say that, why?
Well, that's what I understood when I heard it on the news the other night.
Well, it's going to be different. It's going to be the insurance company can sue. Say, we'll just use this as an example, don't go into it because I'll do the best I can describing it. So say somebody has a homeowner's policy and the association was negligent in some act, because you know certain things are covered under your homeowners, certain things are under the association. So then it will be up to that your homeowners to sue the association. That's okay. It's what happens when you get a third or another lawyer involved that sues the homeowners and the association. That's what I think they're eliminating. Or that's what I think they have eliminated, but that's as of whenever they signed that legislation. Did you all follow that?
Yeah.
Because everybody gets a piece. So normally, if there's a claim of negligence and on the homeowner's policy, they will either pay it or the homeowner do whatever, and then the association would be responsible for its responsibility, but then the HO06 policy company can sue the association and then I think recover costs. But the problem is when it's a different attorney suing both, because then there's a public adjuster involved, you know, it's
Well,
sick.
I think it all
Sick,
stems
sick.
from what just, that last storm we had over in the West Coast, you know.
Right. So, you know, those people now are going to suffer. I was just reading an article about now with those mandatory building inspections, you know, if they're a little bit whatever, they're screwed. And the insurance is not paying, or they go belly up. So,
And over there, what made it worse is the electricity was shut off for everybody, even if the building did
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
So then the houses that are all right are sitting there filling with mold. So not just the ones that blew away, but the ones that stayed, those were also a big cost.
I think it's good though that you have planned ahead here a bit so we can cover this should in some way, shape or form, try to cover most of this, if something should happen.
it's a good guess,
Yes,
but there
I
is no,
understand.
and you know what? I'm telling you when we're going to find out, probably February 27,
Correct.
28, and they're going to be
Like last
standing
year.
there with their, like every year, waiting for the check, because you're not covered until they receive that check.
Right.
So it's always very much last minute.
Your fingers crossed.
We'll figure it out. It always has worked out. I would expect it will work out for March 1st.
Back up to something I think I heard you say, but maybe I misheard. Is there such a thing as assessment insurance on a private homeowner's policy? Did you say?
Yes, so,
It is.
yeah.
It costs $2,000.
No, you get it automatically with your homeowner's insurance. There's if you get a special assessed for damages because of a
That's
hurricane,
part of your insurance.
and you get special assessed, there's mandatory $2,000 built into your homeowner's insurance.
Even without having, there's no special rider or anything,
No,
that's
no.
just in there. Okay, thank you. I didn't-
So, to give you a piece of information,
Yeah.
I have to use round numbers because I could only do it that way. So let's say the buildings are not quite worth 30 million, but we'll use for round numbers, and there's a 5% deductible for the hurricane, so that's, what is it, 1.5 million?
Yeah.
So divide that out by 230, whatever that is, so